Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about pre-patch, and more specifically we're going to talk about all of the things becoming unobtainable or harder to get from the midnight pre-patch. And there is quite a lot, as this is the first time in a while that we've ended the expansion on a season 3, an actual season instead of like a season 4 sort of thing. But before we get into it, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. We do a ton of World of Warcraft content over here, so if that's your thing, then please subscribe. So firstly, let's talk about the pre-patch launch date. So the pre-patch for Midnight does launch on January 20th in the NA region and January 21st in the EU. So all of these things will be happening from then. Some of them are ending on the day before, but I will mention that as and when it does come up. Also, some of this list is speculative. Blizzard did put out a post listing some things. However, there were some pretty glaring missing things, which again, I will mention when we get to it, and we'll just kind of go off like past experiences and things like that in regards to those things. So let's begin by talking about Delves. So the Delver's journey for Season 3 will end on pre-patch, it looks like. So this, again, was not mentioned in the blue post, but we are speculating from what we've seen on the PTR and things like that. So yeah, the Delver's journey will not be able to be completed from the pre-patch launch date. Just a few tidbits on Delves, though. The Transmog from Season 3 and other rewards will be added to the Undercoin vendor, and Undercoin are not being reset yet. I would imagine that that will be reset when Midnight actually does launch, and you can still summon the Nemesis boss if you are after some hero track gear from Delves. So Delves will pretty much operate exactly how they do right now in regards to gearing. The other change to Delves is the Delve Nemesis. So Kaiveza, Nexus Princess Kaiveza, will still be able to be defeated. However, defeating her on question mark difficulty will no longer reward the Delver's Mana Skimmer schematic, so you won't be able to obtain that through that. However, much like previous seasons, we're just assuming that this will be a low drop rate from Kaiveza in the future. So again, not sure how that's going to work in Midnight when we kind of out-level it, but we'll have to see what happens there. But as of pre-patch, you will not be able to get the Delver's Mana Skimmer schematic quite easily from defeating her. Moving into dungeons, let's talk about some achievements. So Keystone Master will likely still be obtainable until the Midnight launch. So yeah, Blizzard have not mentioned this at all, which is kind of weird. You know, you would have thought this would be kind of a big thing they would mention, but going off past expansions, you could get Keystone Master and the related mount during the pre-patch. So I'm going to go with yes, you can still get Keystone Master. Keystone Legend, however, will not be obtainable according to Blizzard on a tweet, which they did actually mention Keystone Legend specifically. However, the achievement is currently unchanged on the Midnight pre-patch PTR, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, it seems likely that Keystone Legend won't be obtainable as of pre-patch. As for the Mythic Plus leaderboard, Blizzard have said that the Mythic Plus leaderboards will lock at 10 PM the night before the maintenance, so January 19th for the NA region and January 20th for the EU. With the season's end, the ratings that qualify for the 0.1% title, the Unbound Hero title, and that title will be rewarded a couple of weeks after the season ends, so nothing really too new there, just the leaderboards freezing up the day before the patch. Moving on into raids, so for achievements, the Ahead of the Curve achievement for defeating Dimensius on heroic difficulty will not be obtainable as of pre-patch, unfortunately, alongside the Cutting Edge achievement for defeating Dimensius on Mythic will also be unobtainable as of pre-patch. However, the most important part here are, of course, the mounts. So the Royal Voidwing will actually still be obtainable all the way up until the Midnight launch. So still defeating Dimensius on Heroic won't give you the achievement. However, you will still be able to get the Royal Voidwing mount on Heroic, which, yeah, definitely recommend doing that. Also with mounts, the Ascended Skyraiser, the Big G, and the Unbound Star Eater will remain a 100% drop rate until the Midnight launch. So you can still get those mythic mounts a lot easier than you will in the future. Once Midnight launches, those will become a rare drop mount that you're going to farm for the rest of your life. So yeah, now's probably the best time to do it. Of course, with the pre-patch comes the restrictions on combat add-on API, so perhaps these encounters might be a little bit more difficult going into the pre-patch, as we won't have so much help from weak auras or DBM or bigwigs or anything like that. We just got to kind of rely on whatever Blizzard have got built into the game for these encounters. Moving into PvP, so the PvP season will officially end the night before the patch, so on January 19th for NA and January 20th for the EU. So things that are going away on that day are the Astral Gladiator achievement for War Within Season 3, the Astral Legend achievement, the Astral Gladiator's Fellbat will not be obtainable as of the end of the season and as of pre-patch, the Arcane Weapon Illusion will also be going away, and the War Within Season 3 PvP Elite Weapons and Transmog sets will not be obtainable as of the midnight pre-patch. However, in pre-patch, players can still queue for PvP and still do rated PvP for Honor and Conquest, and you could still obtain the Vicious Void Creeper mounts for the Alliance and for the Horde. So the Vicious mounts are staying. Pretty much everything Gladiator related is being removed though as of pre-patch. And finally, let's talk about Legion Remix. Yes, Legion Remix will be over by the time we hit the midnight pre-patch, so all of the exclusive rewards that are only obtainable in Legion Remix will no longer be obtainable. Now, there is a slight caveat with this, with the Remix decor, so all of the decor that's being added to Legion Remix will still be purchasable, but this will be on a vendor in the Dalaran sewers, and this will cost you various amounts of Order Hall resources and Veiled Argonite. You don't need the achievements to purchase this either, so if you didn't interact with Legion Remix, you can still purchase these decor items. However, they are mega expensive, so if you have some bronze left over right now, watching this video and Legion Remix is still live, go and buy the extra ones if you do need them. Now, all of your remix characters will be converted to regular characters as of the midnight pre-patch as well. So yeah, remix is done as of pre-patch, and a lot of the rewards are going away, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it, guys. That is pretty much everything going away at the start of the midnight pre-patch. I will have a full video going over what is coming in the midnight pre-patch. It's a pretty big pre-patch. There's a lot of changes happening with that patch. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel for that. I do have some other pre-patch related videos coming up. Pre-patch is super soon, as mentioned, January 20th and 21st, depending on your region. So guys, if you did like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I also have a Patreon and I'm on Twitter, MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. I'm also streaming over on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you're interested in some World of Warcraft content, some Midnight Beta, Midnight PTR, any sort of WoW, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.